A very good morning to all of you. Dear students, welcome to our class of science. Today we will learn the next part of chapter Nutrition in Plants. Before introducing today's topic, let's recapitulate the key points of previous classes. Food is essential for all living organisms. The various components present in food are called nutrients. The uptake of nutrients in food and its utilization by the body is called nutrition. There are two modes of nutrition: autotrophic, heterotrophic. The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic nutrition. Example: green plants. The mode of nutrition in which organisms take in food prepared by plants is called heterotrophic nutrition. Example: animals. Green plants synthesize food for themselves by the process of photosynthesis. Chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide and sunlight are essential requirements for photosynthesis. Solar energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll present in leaves. Complex chemical substances such as carbohydrates are the products of photosynthesis. Oxygen is produced during photosynthesis. Green color pigment chlorophyll is present in green parts of the plant. There are tiny pores called stomata present on the surface of leaves for exchange of gases. The food synthesized by the plants is stored as starch. We have seen so far that photosynthesis can only provide us with carbohydrates which contain carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But what about other nutrients? How plants synthesize other components of food such as proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals? Let's find out. The second source of food for plants is from soil, which contains certain minerals in dissolved form. These minerals are absorbed by the plants from the soil through their roots. Can you name some minerals required by plants? Plants can also produce proteins, vitamins and fats which are formed with the help of nitrogen. But from where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Dear students, plants require a lot of nitrogen to make other nutrients. That's why they absorb nitrogen continuously from the soil. Due to this, the amount of nitrogen becomes deficient. As you all know that there is 78% of nitrogen present in our atmosphere, but plants cannot use it in the manner directly as they can use carbon dioxide. Plants require nitrogen in soluble form. Have you seen farmers adding fertilizers in the soil? Yes, they add fertilizers to fulfill the requirement of nitrogen because the fertilizers are rich in nitrogen. Not only this, soil has certain bacteria that convert gaseous nitrogen into a usable soluble form and release it into the soil. In this way, the plants fulfill their requirement of nitrogen along with the other constituents and synthesize various components of food. Students, now let us know about those plants which do not have chlorophyll and cannot synthesize their food on their own. Just think about how they survive and from where do they derive nutrition? Such plants derive their nutrition from other plants. The plants which obtain their food directly from other plants are known as parasitic plants. Those plants through which they obtain food are known as host. This picture clearly shows that how parasites derive their nutrition from host. You might have seen Cuscuta nearby you, which is an example of a parasitic plant. It coils around the stem and branches as a yellow tubular structure. You will be surprised to know that it does not contain chlorophyll. It takes ready-made food from the host plant on which it is climbing. Students, I have a doubt. Human beings and animals also depend on plants for their nutrition. Can we say that human beings and animals are also parasites because they also take their food from plants? Let's find out. Human beings and animals are not parasites because they do not deprive the plants of their essential nutrients as the parasitic plants do. However, mosquitoes, bedbugs, lice and leeches are parasites because they suck human blood and depend on them for their food. When you go to a vegetable shop, you might have seen packets of mushrooms sold in it. Besides that, sometimes you may have also seen fluffy umbrella-like patches growing on rooting wood during rainy season. But do you know what these organisms are and how they get their nutrition? Dear students, these organisms are commonly called fungi. They are not like green plants as they lack chlorophyll and cannot make food by photosynthesis. They get their nutrition from dead and decaying matter. To get their nutrients from dead and decaying matter, they secrete digestive juice and converted it into a solution. This mode of nutrition in which organisms take in nutrients from dead and decaying matter is called saprotrophic nutrition. Organisms which use this kind of mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. Fungi are saprotrophs. Have you seen or heard of plants that can eat animals? There are a few plants that can trap insects and digest them to get nutrition. Such plants are called insectivorous plants. Example: pitcher plant, Venus flytrap plant. Do you know the pitcher plant and Venus flytrap plant are green and carries out photosynthesis? Then why does they feed on insects? Actually, these plants can synthesize their own food by photosynthesis, but they grow in nitrogen deficient soil. So, such plants will fulfill their nitrogen requirement by eating these small insects and hence are called insectivorous plants. The pitcher-like structure is the modified part of leaf. The apex of the leaf forms a lid which can open or close the mouth of the pitcher. When an insect lands over the pitcher, the cover of the pitcher opens to swallow the insect. As soon as the insect gets inside the pitcher, the top closes and the insect gets knotted in the hair present inside the pitcher. Can we say that the insectivorous plants are partial heterotrophs? You have to think and answer this. Dear students, have you ever heard about symbiotic relationship? And what is the meaning of this term exactly? The relationship between two dissimilar organisms in which both are living together and share shelter and nutrients to each other is called symbiotic relationship. Organisms which are involved in symbiotic relationship are called symbionts. Lichen is a good example of symbiotic relationship. Lichen is an association between algae and fungi. In this relationship, algae provide food to fungi and fungi provide protection, absorbed water and minerals to algae. Rhizobium. Rhizobium bacteria also shows symbiotic relationship with roots of leguminous plants. As I have told you earlier, soil has certain bacteria that provide nitrogen to plants. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into soluble form for plants. These bacteria live in the roots of gram, peas, beans and other legumes and provide nitrogen to them. In return, plants provide food and shelter to bacteria. It's time for you to note down the key points. What have we learnt today? Plants synthesize various nutrients with the help of nitrogen and other minerals absorbed from soil. Those plants which obtain their nutrition directly from other plants are called parasitic plants. Example, Cuscuta. Those plants through which parasitic plants obtain their nutrition are called host. The mode of nutrition in which organisms take in nutrients from dead and decaying matter is called saprotrophic nutrition. Organisms which depend on dead and decaying organic matter are called saprotrophs. Example, fungi. Those plants which can trap insects and digest them to get nutrition are called insectivorous plants. Example, pitcher plant. When two organisms live together and share shelter and nutrients to each other, it is called symbiotic relationship. The organisms which are involved in this symbiotic relationship are called symbionts. Lichen is a good example of symbiotic relationship. Rhizobium bacteria shows symbiotic relationship with roots of leguminous plants. It's time to note down your home assignment. Question number 1. Name the following. Part 1. A parasitic plant with yellow, slender and branched stem. Part 2. A plant that is partially autotrophic. Question number 2. Pick the correct answer. Part 1. Cuscuta is an example of autotroph, parasite, saprotroph, host. Part 2. The plant which traps and feeds on insects is Cuscuta, China rose, rose, pitcher plant. Question number 3. Distinguish between a parasite and a saprotroph. Question number 4. How would you test the presence of starch in leaves? Question number 5. Why do farmers grow so many fruits and vegetables inside large greenhouses? What are the advantages to the farmers? Dear students, today we have completed our first chapter, Nutrition in Plants. I hope you have enjoyed all lessons with me. Thank you for your cooperation. Stay at home, stay healthy. Thank you and have a nice day.